and he'd come to live with his grandparents. My grandmother was a trapmaker who lived on the other side of the street. She gets married in February of 1888. They go to Washington. She gets home. She goes across the street to tell her sister and her parents about her trip to Washington. They have the snowstorm. It is a week before she can get back away to her new husband. And that supposedly is a true story. And when I was growing up, every time it snowed, Grandma would say, well, it's nothing like this of 1888. And I do have some other things over here. Well, what other thing am I? Don't believe that. Maybe two. These are stockings that were knit by Maria Lefevre, who was married to Simon Du Bois. She was the mother of Margaret, my great-grandmother, so she would have been my great-great-grandmother, probably your great-great-grandmother too. She made these stockings for her daughter, for her trousseau. So you can pass those around if you want. I found this in the teapot. And this is the other sister, Mary Squires, that thing I passed around. This is her wedding cap. That was also in the teapot. In the teapot.
Well, there's lots of things to look at, and feel free to look. And if you have any questions about relationships, don't ask me. Ask Mary, but it is quite simple when you know it, but it can be complicated. So, yes. Oh, okay.
It has to do with Mary's parents, and it's very good.
We've only got 5 minutes left on the thing.
When Mary's parents were still alive, and Marge, every Halloween, they would wait for our kids to be dressed in their costumes and go down to the farm. Since they didn't have grandchildren, they would welcome them in there with open arms, have stuff for them, candy and everything, and play the piano. And it went on for years. That was a wonderful experience for my children as well as your parents. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you for letting me get to know them very well. Thank you.
And I'd also like to thank Harold for putting this on the record, because I think it's too valuable to not have this down permanently. So thank you very much. And for many of these family trees that he has done through, it's a sort of a labor of love to do that, I tell you. But and his record of the other Du Bois house, which we're restoring, is on that table if you care to look at it. So and thank for everybody who helped with
Do you want to say more about Franny?
well, I think she's wonderful. I really do. And she died in 1862, right? So it's an early portrait. And I'm sure maybe a painter came along.
Frida bought that at the auction.
So it will be donated to the Historic Society, as will all the other things. The rocking horse and the little mourning bonnets were worn by the children when they went to various funerals. That they were their mourning hats, and the little bodice is a sort of a funeral type blouse that they would wear too. And who did the portrait? I don't know who did the portrait. It's probably just like a wandering person that came through and I did the farm. So yes,
I forgot this. See, this is a picture, and here's Granny, which was in our front hall. And this is a picture of my mother and dad and Francis Garrison. And my dad and Herb and Herman Malin, they went up to the Eastern Exposition of Springfield, Massachusetts, to the fair up there. And Francis was the selling Minneapolis Moline tractors at that time up there. So they had a drawing or something, and my dad won the gun. So that's...
Not the tractor?
No, won the gun. So here, Francis came down, took the picture of my mother and dad, and it just happened that it was September 26, 1957, their 40th wedding anniversary. And my mother's got a corsage on, and at that particular time, we were having a big party for my mother and dad for their 40th wedding anniversary. So that it just worked out very well. And all the folks that came to the party, they gave money, and we had an anniversary tree. And that tree is still living, and it's a little tree out there along by the roadside over the back farm. So,
And the grandmother's in the background.
yeah, Granny's in the background.
All right, well, thanks again, everyone, for coming. Don't forget, next month, we'll see you then. Bring a friend.